Hello everybody and welcome back to the More Bus Videos YouTube channel. I'm More Bus Videos, otherwise known as More Central, depending on what day of the week and what video you're watching. And welcome to Midland Park and Ride in Westcountry version 3.03. Now, it's been a while since we've been driving in the West Country and sort of done the park and ride routes. In fact, can't remember the last time I did them on camera. But I thought for this livery, I thought that this is the most appropriate route that exists. So we'll get the vehicle set up, because I've noticed that the other bus is showing up and I don't want all of the passengers to then want to get on that, because then we'll just never get anybody for this. But this vehicle is in the Buses of Somerset, so FirstBus and Buses of Somerset brand, in their Buses of Somerset Green. Now recently, the Buses of Somerset sort of operational company received quite a few ex-London single-door converted Enviro 400s, newer Dennis Trident 2s. Majority of the vehicles were ex-Arriva, a few of them have come from other random operators as well, all previously London vehicles, and have now started to operate around Somerset. Now, with this being based in the West Country and the West Country being just around the corner from Somerset, it seems geographically the closest we could get to this bus being in its element, being at home. So I thought, well, it is the West Country, only down the road in essence. I thought, oh, what's a little bit of Somerset in the West Country won't do anybody any harm. So we'll do a nice little trip on the 100. So this livery has just been released at the time of filming this, released by Turbo Ted, looking absolutely lovely, again, to their usual high standard. The branding's all very nice. As I say, the livery design itself is very, very sleek, very realistic to how it is in real life. And the interior, I believe, also reflects what some of them are like, because again, as I do say, all of these vehicles are from various different operators in London, and so as a result of that, do reflect slightly different interiors, most of which I believe have been refurbished into the current First E leather, but by the looks of it, going for the level of realism, it does appear that some of them have retained their initial maquette. It can happen, that many of these entered service in one go within a short space of time, and that it wouldn't surprise if a few of them did end up escaping the retrim department. If the maquette was pristine, there's no need to refurbish it. And again, if it was pristine and they're advertising another bus company, then you don't need to refurbish it. If it's advertising another bus company, you should probably refurbish it. I.e., if you jumped on a FirstBus with a load of Stagecoach beach ball seats inside and Stagecoach branding and stuff like that, you'd be a little bit confused. So that kind of thing. But something like this, it's not too bad. So we heard you off at 9 o'clock on the dot, so I'm going to move the time forward a little bit, see if we get any last minute people that we're not. And with that done, we will make our way into the town centre. So again, the 100 is a circular service, continues to be. That's why when the bus does show up, you do have to change your blind. If you're taking you're sort of starting a bus run here, you've got to put your blind onto the 100 before the bus behind shows up. Otherwise, all of the people waiting here will just go and wait for the bus behind. So as I have said previously, having driven these Trident 2 E400s in real life, I can say that they are absolute tanks, both in-game and in real life. They are absolutely tremendous vehicles to drive. Some of my favourite vehicles to drive. I'd say so far, with the double deckers I've driven, my personal favourite, that doesn't necessarily mean the best, but my personal favourites have to be these Trident 2s. I've had the pleasure of driving about 3 of these, I believe now. I've driven 3 Trident 2s, and the VDL DB300 is also top of the ranks as well, that I've had the privilege of driving. VDL DB300s are excellent when A, they're looked after well, and B, when they are looked after well, the kickdown works on them, the acceleration works on them, the smooth braking works on them, the suspension works well on them, and I was lucky enough to sample a vehicle that ticks all of those boxes. So as a result of that, I do like VDL DB300s. So although I haven't driven too many types so far, I would say they are my favourite deckers. That is also coming from a position of someone that hasn't driven a B90L yet. So it must be importantly clarified. I have driven a couple of B7TLs, no B9TLs yet. So I haven't had the experience of a B9, so it's not one I can comment on. So there are quite a few exciting new repaints that have just been released on the forums. I was having a little look before I filmed this as to some of the other repaints out there. And there's a nice variety of stuff. It looks like we are going to be returning to FirstBus for the odd video, so that might be another Smarden local video, I think, as that seems to be the map that just seems to fit in with the kind of thing that FirstBus operate. So we might do another video on there, because the FirstBus repaint pack's been released, and a Stagecoach Scotland repaint pack has been released, reflecting predominantly the E400 MMC in some of the varying different route brands and liveries that they have up in Scotland. I think that's pretty cool. I personally haven't explored the Stagecoach sort of Scotland operation before, unfortunately. It's been a while, come to think of it, since I was up in Glasgow. I mean, I was last up in Scotland in Glasgow when there were proper Dennis Trident ALX 400s, and there were a load of Presidents running, they had Renowns running, B7Ls running, Dennis Starts with a Marshall body running, and that was just FirstBus. So that gives the time frame as to when I was last there. Now I don't know, but I assume this is the wrong stop. I'm going to assume I am supposed to be the other side, but all of these people are still waiting, so let's have a look and see what it says. Oh yeah, it is towards Midden, so there's going to be quite a lot of disappointed people. They've got a nice Tourer painted. So let's go and load up the correct side. I do always get them mixed up. The problem is when you sort of like what we did, where yes, it hadn't properly loaded in, that I thought was a bit strange. But when you do see another bus past you that was a 100, it does confuse you a little bit when you show up to the stop and there's actually people waiting. So I thought better go on that side before I find out I've missed it and all that lot. But got more people on, no complaints, and with that being the 100 in front, I am the next one anyway, so they'd only be waiting for me. Again, cannot emphasise this enough, this bus sounds as good as it does in game as it does in real life. And these are genuinely, as I say, some of my favourite buses to drive. Absolute privilege when I'm driving and I get allocated one of these ex-London Dennis Trident 2s. Really, really love the buses. Very smooth as well. Very, very smooth. And something that I do like with ADLs, that I believe I've said in the past few videos I've driven ADLs, is the dashboard. From a driving perspective, when the dashboard works, and I was witness quite recently to a dashboard that was a little bit faulty, but when the dashboard does work and the vehicle's looked after, that I've been lucky enough to drive a number of ADL vehicles that have been very looked after, and the dashboards work as they should do. They are the easiest and some of the most driver-friendly dashboards to use. You can, even if you haven't been properly type trained on a vehicle for whatever reason, you can still figure out what everything does. You're not it's not a load of buttons that are faded and what have, because of how they're printed on here. They don't tend to fade that easy, so they're all still always pretty clear. You can work out roughly where everything is. It's not like a Volvo dashboard or a Scania dashboard. don't think I'm supposed to stop here, but somebody's rung the bell and I'm a nice person, and I did let a load of people on wanting to go to the park and ride on, so if they want to get off, I will let them. But yeah, when they work, they are so easy to use. These much better than Scania and Volvo dashboards. I mean, don't get me wrong. Once you get your head around them, they're all right. But the buttons on them just seem to be a little bit more fiddly. There's more buttons. It can get a little bit confusing if buttons are faded on an older example. But with these ADLs, I've not had an issue where buttons have faded. They've all still been very clear, and they're always in the same places, regardless of model. Sometimes you get different Scanias, like Omni-City Deckers, Omni-Deckers, where buttons move about and stuff like that. And because of how those dashboards are, sometimes operators that they were necessarily new to a big firm, for example, like FirstBus, Stagecoach, Go Ahead, may start moving buttons around and changing stuff and rewiring stuff, that then it's a whole new ball game. But with an ADL dashboard, because of how the dashboard is, everything tends to stay in the same places. That is just so much nicer from a driver perspective. When you jump in a bus and you just are like, I know where everything is. It's quite a nice, relaxing feeling, knowing that you're not having to sort of fight a dashboard and work out where all of that is, as well as having to tackle some of the roads and interesting bus stops, locations that you tend to find. I do keep meaning to go down to Somerset. A trip I want to do, I'd be it this year or next, I don't know. But I want to travel by bus from Bristol to Weymouth. Incredibly random, I'm fully aware. But I want to do a little bit of a road trip out. As I say, if it happens this year or not is a different question for a different day. But the plan for something like that would be travel on one of the many different Badger line. Oh shush! Travel on one of the many different Badger line services from Bristol to Weston. Then from Weston you check down on, I believe it's the 20 that is the open top bus, I believe. Check on that south from Weston to as far south as that goes, and then from that point you can jump off the First West of England operation, jump onto the buses in Somerset operation, do the 2021 into Taunton, I believe it goes to, and then from Taunton you can do, I believe you can do the 30, I think it is, to Ackminster. You can basically from there, you can from wherever you jump off the 21 in Somerset, you either do a Dodd connection or you run direct to Ackminster, and then from there you're off the buses of Somerset network and you're on the First Wessex network, and you can then catch that straight through to Weymouth. I just think it'd be really, really cool because you get a bit of Jurassic Coast in, you get a bit of buses of Somerset in, you get some seaside action from First West of England in, and you get such a nice comparison over the interesting opcos over there. Don't know why it was moving with the handbrake on. But you get a nice contrast of the different opcos that I think is always really, really cool. Because in more recent times, FirstBus have gone down the road that Go Ahead did, and they've personalised the buses. That, from a passenger perspective, is really, really good, because it makes you feel like you're not just part of some corporate operation. You do have your own vehicles with the brand on, with. Let's up that a little bit, and now we're back on time. We have your own brand, with your own buses, with somebody in the marketing team who's done the research on the area. You've got nice bits of history to read, and it gives such that personalised effect. And I think what's quite good is because each area has its own operations director, each local brand has taken a very different turn. I mean, it's like I'd argue the one that looks less like FirstBus, that has the least amount of FirstBus presence. I am definitely going lefty around here. I just wanted to make sure it doesn't loop round. I know it used to go left here, but I don't know if they'd want you to loop round and come back again, but clearly not. But this is definitely, the Buses of Somerset brand is the one that looks the least associated with First, because you don't get the externally. It's like green from Buses of Somerset. It's not from FirstBus, it's from Buses of Somerset. So it's created this entirely separate brand that is pretty cool. If it works for Somerset, it works for Somerset. But I think it's, as I say, it's the one that you'd least associate. I mean, if you saw this randomly in a book without any context, you'd think that Buses of Somerset is a different operator. It's not it's not part of one of the big companies. You'd think it would be like Reading Buses or something like that. But it is in fact a FirstBus opco. So I know that Wessex haven't gone down that road as such. Wessex still have most of their vehicles in FirstBus livery, and they focus around the Jurassic coasters predominantly. They're the ones in the special liveries, the open top ones, and the closed top ones. So that's mainly their brand. So they have the standard liveried local services, and then the Jurassic coaster fleet of double deckers that they run as well. So in the west of England themselves, they've gone into this idea of city line branding. So most of their vehicles wear one full livery, full colour, so like lime green, blue, red, purple, just to name a few. And their city lines with a service number on. Again, the FirstBus naming on that is quite small, but they still do, unlike Somerset, they still do have the majority of their fleet in some level of FirstBus livery. So be it the old Urban 2 with branding, where you've got the front bit in a colour livery and then the back bit in First, or in full First livery. So there is that contrast, but again, got to remember, First West of England, Bristol and Western operation is absolutely huge, and the operation in Western is its own badger line thing. So, and badger line, because it is a little bit smaller, a fair bit smaller than Bristol, it has been able to form its own brand a little bit quicker as a result.
Hello, lad.
So it's quite nice talking about Bristol and the west of England. And is that somebody wanting to get off? Oh no, they just stood at the front of me. Okay. I'm trying to think where I can get the screenshot with the best lighting. I think we'll check over the course of this return trip, because I do want a nice screenshot of this bus in the nice sunlight for the thumbnail. But yeah, I definitely need to do another trip to the west of England. I want to have a look over at the Bath City network. Interests me. I want to have a look at that. I want to, as I say, do my little adventure that I've been wanting to do for a bit. Come on, truck, don't slam all on in the middle of a roundabout to let somebody out. Again, I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to stop here on this route. However, people keep wanting to alight here, so I will let them off. Because that way I'm probably not going to go into the back of that truck. It's fine, I'm just enjoying a vehicle that sounds good. It's fine. Now let's see where the light is, shall we? Oh no. I always forget which vehicle has which camera angles when I'm doing this. See if that looks like it's bouncing okay, to be fair. I'd still argue a little bit dark on the front, but I feel that's about as good as we're gonna get. So we'll take that. Oh, I clicked the wrong button. I have really clicked the wrong button. Instead of pressing the screenshot button, I clicked the button that sends us to square one. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. There's always something interesting in these videos. We'll let it load every single town known to man, and then it'll hopefully send us back to where we started. Let's just give it a second. It's on a screen as well that you lot can't see, so that adds to the excitement that I'm waiting for a screen that you lot can't see to load. So hopefully it'll ping us somewhere very soon. Yeah, that was square one, as you can see in the currently loading screen in the very, very, very distance. Lovely. Well, at least we got to see square one in OMSI, and I've learned not to click buttons I'm not 100% sure with. Always look down at the keyboard when pressing F12 as it's just too much of a risk to press F11. Again, can I emphasise you won't drive this quick in real life into sort of a hospital bus terminus. I think you'd have a couple of problems if you did that. However, the joys of a simulator means that you can make most of the tried and true power absolutely floor it. But I just feel it's worth that disclaimer. Because I do think I am one of the quicker OMSI 2 YouTubers around. I don't believe there's that many people who go as quick as I do, but it's fun. It's fun, and at the end of the day, we're not here to sit around and run slowly, boring to a timetable. We're here to absolutely gun simulated. Oh, there we go. Absolutely gun simulated buses. on some scenic routes and enjoy the sounds of them, because why not? And there we go, I believe we are now straight to the park and ride. So non-stop to the park and ride site. No, this vehicle just sounds so good. Really, really does. I must say, as vehicle types do move on, and we unfortunately will start to see less and less and less of the Dennis Trident type. I mean, in fact, it'll get to the stage very soon where it will be as rare to find in service as an Olympian, unfortunately. And Olympians are becoming as rare as seeing Bristol VRs in service. But again, they are still VRs out and about in service, if you know where you look, if you know where to look. But again, they are becoming a rarer thing to see. So it's unfortunately is getting to that stage, and as it does, I would say that as we go into the next era, some of my favourite buses are these Trident 2s that are coming off in London. They just sound absolutely tremendous. I'm not as much of a fan of the E40Ds and the later Enviro 400s. They're not as interesting for me. I mean, don't get me wrong, whistling turbos and stuff like that, some of them can be entertaining, but as a vehicle generally, I mean, I would happily take an SM58 Trident 2 at a Riva Yorkshire over one of the existing SM15 plates, purely because the SM58 is an older Trident 2 and sounds a million times better than the E40D, purely because it's older, and as a result the engine technology was a little bit older and the vehicle's a little bit louder in it as it's kicked down, and it sounds a bit better with gear change and stuff like that, and that's how it accumulates. But either way, although people do worry a little bit about the vehicle types we're using, I just argue there's still a fair few decent sounding vehicle types out there for at least the next few years to come. And on that positive note, I do hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, then do be sure to click the like button so that more people can find it and enjoy like you have. And if you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe to the Ambobus Videos YouTube channel for more content like this from the simulation section, with videos up to twice a week from the world of OMSI 2, as well as an archive of around 7,000 backseated engine-focused public transport videos from the UK and beyond, with buses, trams, trains and more. There's some fun on there for everyone, with additional 21 videos added of them every week on this channel. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of Trident 2 E400 thrash that sometimes you can't necessarily get in the real world with traffic congestion and stuff like that. And for now, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next video, mate. Goodbye for now. Bye.